Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by Queensberry Promotions, George Warren. George, we've just seen the unveiling of a light heavyweight card, which features the headline of Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker. Just in terms of the decision to make it an all light heavyweight clash, what's the reason behind that?
Just because I felt that with Josh joining the stable and obviously the relationship that we built, we're ready to fight, and Daniel's performance against Louis, there was an opportunity to put some really good fights on that hung together on a light heavyweight theme. We've got so many great light heavyweights in the UK right now, and a lot of them with Queensberry, and the ones that aren't even on this card, Willie Hutchinson, Anthony Yard, to name two, Louis Edmondson, Edwards Taylor. So there are great fights that we can really start with this, which is, I think, a really good quality competitive card, evenly matched fights, and fans are going to like.
Would you say a world title opportunity is there on the line for the winner of the main event?
Definitely. That's our job to deliver. I mean, that there's some great fighters out there. You know that we've seen generation talents like Devin Beterbiev in being two outstanding fights. I understand that Dimitri's got a back injury, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
And Artist staying busy. Anthony's having his opportunity at that kind of elite level against David Benavides. But in their eyes, the winner of this is going to be the next opportunity, and we hope the next opportunity is going to be a world championship.
There's been a lot of talk throughout the years about Joshua Buatsi taking on his rival, which has been Anthony Yard. He's been at Queensberry for the majority of his career. Is that now there's no roadblocks to that happening? If both keep on winning, they're going to be destined to fight each other?
I would love it. I'd love to. I mean, I've made many attempts on this to try and make that fight. Comes down to timing, right? And what they both want to do. But if they keep performing in the ring and they've got the hunger and the desire to do it, then it's 100% there to be done. Obviously, make it a lot easier if by that point one of them's become a world champion, because it is something else that adds to the hot. But it's a natural fight that Bobby made.
Daniel Appin takes on Troy Jones. There was the potential maybe that he could take on Louis Edmondson in the rematch. Do you think that happens down the line?
I think it's definitely there to be done. I think we've got other plans at the moment in Louis, and that's going to be announced pretty soon. And it's going to involve maybe one of our other Queensberry light heavyweights. But it was just an opportunity to get Daniel back on. I thought he boxed, very well against Louis. Louis put a great performance, and I expect the same here. I mean, Troy put in a great performance against Esther. Arguably very, very close round, some of them, and it was competitive. I expect competitive fights.
Can we rewind to last weekend? Moses Itauma in devastating performance against Dillian Whyte, dispatching of him in the first round. Just what's on the table for him? I know rest and recovery is the obvious answer, but a lot of talk about what could be next for him.
We haven't got even to that point yet in the team to discuss it. There are countless fights that can be made. A lot of them obviously in-house with Queensberry, a lot of the heavyweights that we've got under contract. But we'll make that decision when it's the right time. I'm going to let everyone know that the kid is a superstar in the making, and he's proving it time and time again that he is what we think he is capable of being. And I think people are going to get more and more excited about him the more his career develops. And it's our job to make sure that career develops properly. That means matching him accordingly and picking those right times to step him up and to try and deliver for him, so that not only he's improving and benefiting in the ring and developing as a fighter, but also as a name, sell tickets, sell pay-per-views, get viewership, get sponsorship, and commercialise himself, because that's our job.
I said to your father, Frank, last week that the Warrens, yourself, have got a reputation of matching prospects and fighters with high ceilings appropriately. We know that Turkey Al Sheikh wants that Moses Itauma fight. Is there any hesitancy from your side to make that fight next with Usyk? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in me even talking about that at the moment, because we haven't sat down and we haven't spoken to Moses about it. I think that there's a number of different things that have got to happen before we can even discuss that. And in the meantime, we want Moses to stay active. We want him to stay busy. Alexander's, put in an injury request with the WBO that's been obviously made public. So we've got to see the fallout that happens with that in relation to Joseph Parker. And then we have other interim champions as well. We're kind of sitting in the on that substitution bench, or waiting for their opportunity to fight for the world title, and actually have IL, and obviously as well with Fabio Voorhees. So there's a lot of different things that have got to happen. The great thing for us at Queensberry is a lot of these guys that are on the contract with us, it should in theory make it easier to make some of these fights happen.
Just on Dillian, what's his current status? Of course, he come off the defeat against Itauma. Talk and rumour about an injury, but and about retirement potentially too. But what is his current status with Queensberry?
We said to him before this fight, if he wanted to continue and he wanted to be brought back, we're happy to sit down and talk to Dillian about that. Tip my hat off to doing what a lot of people wouldn't do, which is to take on Moses, which was always there wasn't always going to be a huge amount to gain if he beat him. And I think it would have been, people would have said if he'd won it, you've beaten a prospect. But if he lost, it was also going to be, you've lost to a 20-year-old. So I take my hat off to him. And, look, if he wants to continue, that's a decision that he needs to make. And if he wants to do it, the door's open and we'll sit down and we'll talk to him.
Promotionally, would it be fair to say that you kind of want Alexander Usyk to vacate so you can have more world title fights, you can have more world champions, because the contenders are basically all Queensberry fighters?
I think at the moment, I just want him to stop beating British fighters. That's all I want. Right? Look, he's a generational talent. And I've had the privilege of watching him now fight live, I think on 5-6 occasions. At 38, he doesn't seem to be slowing down. We'll see what happens. Look, again, it's not for me to comment on. Alexander's going to make the decision on his own career. And once he does that, that's going to shape out then what's going to happen a lot with the rest of them.
We've had some news in the heavyweight division in the form of Daniel Dubois saying that he's left Don Charles, and the belief is that he's joining trainer Tony Sims. Just your thoughts on that move, if that is the reported case?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that if that's been necessarily confirmed by Daniel. Okay. I've seen that he's announced that, he's parted ways with Don. That's a decision that sits with the fighter. It doesn't sit with us as his promoter. Daniel has to be responsible for deciding who he wants in his corner of the fight, who he wants managing his career. We'll stand by him. We've been with him now for, I think, 9 years. He's been promoted by Queensberry. So we've been with him since the beginning. We've been with him after losses before, and we're still with him after this loss. And our job now will be as a team is to sit down with his new group, whoever that may be, and we'll address the options that he's got, and we'll bring him back and hopefully turning him into a 2-time world champion.
The obvious question here is that it's, Tony Sims' gym is known as the Matchroom Gym. Will there be complications considering it's a Queensberry fight or a Matchroom Gym? Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to Daniel Dubois. In terms of obviously the fallout of that fight as well about the party, has there been any discussion surrounding the pre-fight supposed party?
To be honest, we haven't met with Daniel since the fight. I mean, he's taken some time off. I think he went away for a few weeks, and we plan to all sit down next week, which is always their intention. After a big training camp, a big night, it takes a lot of energy from you, not just the performance, not just the fight itself, but, the adrenaline's kind of gone away, and they need to go away and rest and recover, recuperate. And when they're ready to talk, which is now, and that's the plan, we'll sit down, we'll regroup, and we'll talk about what the options are.
Very last, I just wonder what your thoughts are in terms of Ben Shalom's deal with BBC. Do you think it's viable considering it's 8 dates? And the report is that it isn't as much money as it would have been as he had at Sky Sports. What do you think about the viability of your rival moving over to BBC?
I don't know any details on it. I don't know again if they've been announced, but look, BBC are going to be covering live boxing. That's great. That's great for the sport. It means more eyeballs on it. And Ben is he makes the decisions for his own business, and he's obviously done what he thinks is right in the current climate and what he can do and what he's going to be able to deliver for his stable of fighters. So I wish him the best, and that's great.
Interest in any of the fighters if they become available?
He's interested in the talent, the talent of fighters. It wouldn't be right for me if it, certainly don't turn to fighters if they're on the contract, if there are free agents, whether they're previously being attached with other British promoters or international promoters. We're always available for talking to guys that we think we can bring something to the table, help develop, help turn into what we've done with many of our own fighters over the years. So that's up to the fighters to make that call and let us know if they're able to.
George, thanks for your time. Thanks for some more questions. Looking forward to the light heavyweight card. Cheers.